In this video I will explain the difference between auto exposure and manual exposure. Auto exposure is a very nice feature where the scanner and the computer take care of the whole scanning. This is very nice if you need to do lots of volume at high speed scanning. On the other hand, the manual control is really nice if you want to scan, for example, for archives where you would have full control of the captured image. In practice, most of the customers use the auto exposure mode because that's such a nice feature. The auto exposure mode is a mode where the computer and the pictor together decide how much light is used to expose the image. As you can see in the LED control, the auto exposure levels is switched on, it's orange. The indicator is on orange. If you switch it off, it will go to the manual mode. In the manual mode you can change the amount of light used for the red, green and blue settings, or all the three together. Again, you need to use the scroll wheel of the mouse to change these settings. You can do small increments, small steps, by hovering on top of the rotary control and use the scroll wheel. Or you could do large increments, then you would go to the bar at the left side of that rotary control and go up or down. As you can see, going up means I'm adding light to the exposed image, which of course introduced clipping, an overexposed image. I can see that clearly in the histogram. The histogram on top of the levels show overexposure at the right side and underexposure at the left side. So if I would increase the amount of blue used, I am clipping in the blue channel only, but the image will become blue too. I can do that for the red, of course, and for the green. You will notice that if I switch on the auto exposure level mode again, the computer takes care of it instantly. I will switch it on right now. Now we have a perfectly exposed image, and that's so nice of the auto exposure levels. But the auto exposure levels need to know what part of the film they need to autocorrect. And that's this red box at the right top hand of the preview image. If you click on that, you will see a red box. This red box is used for the auto exposure levels as area where it sets the exposure to the correct settings. Everything within the box will be used as data. Everything outside of the box will not be used for the auto exposure levels. However, the red box will never be shown in the capture. So the red box is just a guide for the operator at the screen, but it will never be captured. I can show you what happens if I select a light part. If I select only the light, then it will optimize for the light. If I take something which is very black, then you see that it's overexposed. And how come it's overexposed? Because it wants to create the perfect exposed part within that box. In this red box there's only black data, so it will use a lot of light to get the maximum out of that black part. But if you select the part where the viewer would look at, by clicking and dragging, then it will correct for that area. And it will do so while the film is playing. If I click on forward play, it will correct for any next frame within the red box. That's how the auto exposure levels work. Again, a really nice feature. And while using the auto exposure levels, you can also apply gamma. That is what I also will explain. One thing, a tip about the red box is, if you accidentally click somewhere on the screen, the red box is set again. So that will mess up with your auto exposure. The red box should be at the same spot throughout the same scan, and not accidentally clicked somewhere here or here, because it will mess up the capture of your film. To prevent that an accidental click in the screen changes the red box, I always advise to switch off the red box here, because now you can click anywhere and it will not reset the red box. Okay, so we have a nice capture, auto exposure is doing its best, but we can also change the gamma within the film. Gamma is used afterwards. The more gamma you add, the more you lift the histogram. As you can see, the dark part is lifted, or when you lower the gamma, it will become more dark. This is really nice, especially with dark scenes inside. The standard gamma for a film would be 2.2. So I always would start with a 2.2 setting. The downside of adding gamma in a very dark scene is that your black will look like gray, because you are lifting the black as well. And for that we have introduced the black level stretch. If you click on that, the software will correct for the black level again. This is again a really nice feature. If the film is particularly dark, you can enhance the gamma and use the black level stretch to return the black into blacks. All these features are in post-production software available as well. So again, this is just a way for an easy capture, but if you want to use post-grading software, of course you can do that as well. So what I will do is I will switch it back to 2.2, the basic setting, and I do like the feature of the black level settings, so I will check in a different scene what the black level stretch will do. In this scene, use black level stretch, and in this case I think scanning without black level stretch is a little bit nicer, but sometimes in another film it would look better. And here you can see the high dynamic range, because we can still see the outside and the inside of the train. And this film is more than 50 years old, and even then we could capture parts of film which were quite difficult to capture even today. Okay, so this is the auto exposure mode, but we can also switch off auto exposure. If you want to do a manual scan, you would just switch off auto exposure levels, and you will notice that the red, green and blue used to digitize the film will stay in the same levels. What is so nice about this feature is the amount of color or light used to expose the film is the same throughout the whole film. And that's very nice for a professional color grader in post, because he can color grade the whole film at once. If you want to read more about manual exposure, I would advise to go to our frequently asked questions section, where we have written a few articles about how to use the manual mode.